Gamer. Braves? The loot grind never stops, and not even weak sauce arguments like, I'm not gonna play my laptop on the train, is gonna stop the prime evils. This is Juan Emerald from Gamer Braves, and thanks to Blizzard, we've been playing an obsessive amount of Diablo Immortal, the mobile port of the popular Diablo IP. So, first things first, let's get some common questions out of the way. This game is not just a mobile port of Diablo 3, despite what you may think. The game takes place in between Diablo 2 and 3 and has its own original plot. While you're playing as the same classes available in Diablo 3, you're not playing the same characters, if that makes any sense. You're playing as another barbarian, another demon hunter, etc. We've also got Blizzard's assurance that the full game will be totally free to play. Character classes, story plots, no paywalls for any of those. So don't worry about wanting to try out the Crusader but having the class locked behind some kind of weird gacha. For this build we had 4 different classes: Barbarian, Wizard, Demon Hunter, Monk. But Blizzard have confirmed that we're getting the Crusader and Necromancer at a later date. It's a decent spread of characters, and they've made sure to actually make the characters look different from their Diablo 3 counterparts, and you can even switch their faces and genders for each class. So it's actually really impressive how they've balanced making the game both faithful to the Diablo series as well as, actually playable on phones. You won't find an overly cluttered UI here. In fact, one of the high points of this game is how neat it's managed to keep the UI, making sure you have ample screen real estate to see where you're going, as well as space for your on-screen buttons like all your skills. There's also now a pair of footprints pointing you where to go, which is great for those of us who get lost frequently, or better yet, just want to avoid progressing the game's story. As you should know by now, loot calls, and progression is but an obstacle when there is a treasure goblin or rare mob on the loose. Some of the concessions they've made for the mobile are pretty interesting, like the removal of resource management. In Diablo 3, your character usually had secondary resources like mana for the wizard or hatred for the demon hunter. Instead, skills are on cooldowns now, and the only thing stopping you from hitting your favorite button is that you've probably just got done hitting your favorite buttons. I think for a mobile game this is pretty normal stuff. I get some purists might want the depth of resource management, but it's not like Diablo 3 doesn't exist for that. Instead, it's more of a way for those of us who need our Diablo fix, but don't have the time to bust out our PCs and start grinding some greater rifts. There's also the game's endgame content, the Elder Rifts. These are randomly generated dungeons and can keep you entertained for quite a while. Suffice to say, it's a Diablo experience distilled into 5 to 10 minute chunks. These are going to be really important since any Diablo player will know that endgame is all about putting your nose to the grinder in search of some valuable loot. But more than that, it's just more gameplay. And considering that's by far this game's strongest suit, the fact we have a near endless amount of it is an excellent addition. On top of that, the game iterates on Diablo 3's Paragon system to give you Paragon trees, which you can use to enhance your character well after level cap. Paragon levels are shared across your account, but you'll be able to choose how you spend them based on each character's needs, instead of one lump sum applying to all characters. As a mobile game, Diablo Immortal has pivoted its design somewhat to take advantage of the much bigger reach it'll have. The game is now part MMO with big open world areas that other players can hop into. There's also lairs which will appear for short bursts of time on the map. I'm a sucker for community-based games, and it's always fun to see someone go to world chat and let you know that they've just found a lair, inviting you to go explore it together. That doesn't mean every dungeon is now a 50-man raid though. Once you go into dungeons, you're limited to your party of 4, so don't expect anyone you did invite to come in and save you like Tuxedo Mask. One other side effect of the game's free-to-play nature is the addition of daily tasks. Personally, I'm not a fan of these in most games, but considering Immortal is actually fun, it's more like rewards for actually playing the game. That being said, things like the game's Battle Pass joins the Elder Rifts as content that can greatly extend the length of your attention on the game. After all, getting free legendaries for what's essentially in-game chores is a pretty sweet deal, especially since many of these tasks can be accomplished by just going about your regular session. I'm also 50-50 on the game's crafting and upgrade system. It's pretty genius in the sense that you can break down all your gear for salvage materials, and breaking down upgraded gear returns these materials to you. It's very generous, but of course, it comes at a price. Items generally have a high upgrade cost, so it'll take quite a bit of farming if you're looking to max out your gear. It's not so bad since the game is fun, but even the most fun homework is still, well, homework. Even if you're not the type to min-max optimal sets, there's still lots of fun to be had. The game's got a pretty cool story, complete with the same art style used in a lot of Diablo 3 cinematics. Memorable characters like Deckard Cain show up, and you even get to see characters like Zoltan Kulle in their prime. After its lackluster first showing at BlizzCon, Diablo Immortal has really turned itself around with this first technical alpha. It's got all the things we love about Diablo's loot and grind, and even pays good homage to the mainline Diablo series. with guest appearances by many of the game's iconic characters. A lot of its gripes are stuff that can be easily fixed, like the cost of crafting materials or the lack of any transmog. Despite the fact that they've lowered the cap for the alpha, we've been shown that it's got an endgame worthy of most mainline Diablo titles, and the added MMO elements will make it such that just helping randos clear dungeons will be fun to do. Plus there's the fact that the game's got good in-game cutscenes, giving a decent amount of goodwill just on how much they plan to polish this. We can't really score the game on account of it's not done yet, but for more Diablo Immortal news and our full impressions, don't forget to check out GamerBraves.com. This has been Juan Emerald from Gamer Braves. Happy holidays, guys. Hey man, if you liked that video, don't forget to check out our Facebook page. In fact, why don't you give it a little like over there, and then click the show in feed so that you get to see our content as it gets published. Thanks a lot for watching. See you!